Metro Mildenhall, and I'm going to show you how New Zealand wool is turned into the best carpets in the world. And this is where it all starts, here on a typical New Zealand sheep farm. This is our open-air wool growing factory, and these are the real stars of the show. The finest carpet wool sheep in the world. From here I'll be following wool on its journey from the sheep's back to the carpet on the floor. And I'll be showing you exactly how our wool is made into carpet and what Wools of New Zealand does to ensure that it is consistently the best. You'll see what carpet and rug manufacturers have to do to earn the right to use the Wools of New Zealand brand on their products. Wools of New Zealand is the organisation responsible for the promotion, product development, R&D and technical support of New Zealand wool around the world. Only manufacturers whose carpets and rugs meet the company's strict quality standards are accredited to use the distinctive Wools of New Zealand brand on their products. It's Wools of New Zealand's job to ensure that everything meets its high standards, from before the wool leaves the sheep's back to when it reaches the floor as a quality carpet labelled with the Wools of New Zealand symbol. And as we'll see, quality is a word the company takes very seriously. Quality is part of the reason New Zealand is the world's #1 exporter of carpet wool, isn't it, Alan?
Yes, and there are a lot of reasons for that. The genetically superior sheep breeds New Zealand has developed, the perfect range of sheep breeding climates, and the importance of the wool industry to New Zealand's economy. And Wools of New Zealand is deeply involved in the quality of wool, right from the beginning. The Fernmark Quality Program starts right here on the farm and ensures excellent, highest quality wool reaches the manufacturer. To qualify for the Wools of New Zealand brand, a carpet must meet the highest performance and environmental specifications. Accredited manufacturers around the world work in partnership with Wools of New Zealand to produce stylish carpets and rugs for commercial and residential interiors. Just as the Wools of New Zealand brand is the customer's final assurance that quality has been consistently built into the carpet all the way from the farm to the floor, the Fernmark Quality Program positions New Zealand wool as the world leader in quality from beginning to end. Wool is one of nature's most amazing fibres. It's warm, soft, bouncy, and yet it's tough as nails. I'm here to talk to Hedley Sanderson of the Wool Science Department here at Lincoln University near Christchurch about the scientific reasons behind wool's natural abilities.
Nature has genetically programmed sheep so that every wool carpet has inbuilt resilience, flame resistance, soil and stain resistance, thermal and acoustic insulation, and natural humidity control.
Okay, let's look at some of those properties in more detail.
Wool has a complex and remarkably versatile structure with a unique spiral crimp. It's that elasticity that allows wool to extend and compress and then bounce back. It's very resilient.
What is it about wool that makes it dirt and stain resistant?
The surface of a wool fibre is covered with a thin protective membrane, which is made up of overlapping scales. In an inch of wool fibre, there are about 2,000 of those scales, and they act to repel liquids. So liquids can't get into the fibre, and that gives wool excellent anti-stain properties. But at the same time as liquids are repelled, those scales give wool the ability to absorb water vapour from the atmosphere. In fact, wool can absorb up to 30% of its own weight in moisture without feeling wet. And that's 10 times as much as synthetics. This gives wool a natural, low static property, and that's the key. Now some simple science. Static electricity attracts dirt. Less static electricity means less dirt. And while wool absorbs moisture in humid conditions, it releases it again when the humidity drops. Now that's exactly the same principle as an evaporative air conditioner system. That same structure that insulates against heat and cold is responsible for wool's ability as a flame retardant. Remember that wool is a protein fibre. Protein fibres don't burn readily,
So it's not like synthetic.
which melts and drips and burns. Wool is difficult to ignite. It'll only smoulder, form a cool char and then self-extinguish. So burns from cigarettes or sparks from a fire will cause minimal damage to a wool carpet. And in a major building fire, wool also contributes much less to smoke and toxic gas formation than most synthetic fibres.
Wool is the product of sophisticated genetic engineering. The structure of the fibre itself gives wool an impressive list of built-in abilities and a pretty classy pedigree. There's certainly more science to wool than I thought. Maybe that's why sheep have white coats. Five key factors make New Zealand wool the best carpet wool in the world. It's white, it's long, it's strong, it's clean, and it's environmentally friendly. New Zealand wool is naturally very white, and due to careful breeding programs is free of black fibre. So if a carpet is sometimes like a work of art, then the wool is like the canvas before the colour has been applied. The whiter the wool, the easier it is to achieve the exact colour and intensity you want. New Zealand wool is clean of mineral contamination and low in grease content, which makes it easy to prepare for manufacturing. New Zealand's wool scouring industry is a world leader in technology and efficiency. New Zealand wool is also a natural, renewable resource, produced using environmentally responsible, energy efficient and safe production methods. You've all heard of horses for courses. The fact that different types of horses are bred to race in very different conditions. Well, it's the same for sheep. New Zealand's sheep are bred to provide either strong wool for carpets or fine to medium wool for clothing, wool for a wide variety of products. Now let's look at the speciality sheep for carpet, the strong wool producers. More than 40 distinct breeds each produce their own unique wool. The dominant breed is the New Zealand Romney, both in numbers, about 26 million, and in producing carpet wool.
The first thing that a carpet yarn spinner and carpet manufacturer expect from carpet wool is quality. We can assure consistent quality because of the sheer number of sheep we have and the rigorous breeding program. Combine this with our processing, grading, testing and quality assurance makes us the best in the world at delivering quality wool.
Advanced genetics and breeding techniques have made the New Zealand sheep. Total quality assurance programs and scientifically based fibre measurement and blending techniques make the wool fibre. Together, nature and science have delivered the wool for the best wool carpets in the world. Let's take a closer look at the process of turning raw wool into real carpet. That process begins here in the wool shed, where the sheep is shorn of its wool and the wool is then sorted and classed. Putting the shorn wool through a series of washing bowls removes grease, sweat, dirt and any vegetable matter. The process is called scouring. The New Zealand scouring industry is the most technologically advanced in the world. Scouring delivers very clean wool for further processing. This is what we started with. And this is how it comes out the other end. Then, depending on what you want as your end result, you take a variety of types of clean scoured wool and blend them together, selecting components for strength, bulk, whiteness or medulation. Dyeing can actually occur at various stages, depending on what kind of carpet you're making. For example, it can be done at this stage, which is called loose stock dyeing, or it can be dyed as yarn, which is called hank dyeing, or even when it's turned into carpet, either piece dyed in a single colour or printed. Before wool can be spun, it must be carded first. Carding is where the fibres are disentangled, similar to combing your hair. The aim is to draw the fibres parallel and produce a uniform web of fibres, or sliver, of uniform thickness over the whole width of the card. We're getting closer to the business end of the yarn making. It's beginning to look more like the sort of wool product we are familiar with. The carded sliver is given a twist during the spinning process. Twist is what gives strength to the yarn and creates what is known as a singles yarn. Singles yarns are then often twisted together in 2s or 3s after spinning, becoming 2 or 3 ply yarn. This gives the yarn more regularity and strength. Now, to make sure the yarn doesn't untwist later on, especially during further processing, carpet cleaning or with general wear, the yarn for cut pile wool carpets has the twist permanently set in. This process is commonly done either chemically or by boiling the yarn during the hank dyeing process, or by heat and steam in a chamber known as an autoclave. Only yarns for cut pile carpets need setting, because with loop piles the twist is already locked in place. Okay, so those are the stages that wool goes through to become a carpet yarn. Now it's ready for the next stage, becoming a carpet. Weaving is an ancient craft that has been around for thousands of years. Today's carpet weavers combine tradition with technology to create extraordinary patterns. Weaving is the designer's or artist's form of carpet making. Machine-woven carpets are one of 2 main sorts, a Wilton or Axminster carpet. Axminster carpet comes in 2 versions, spool Axminster and gripper Axminster. Let's see what these terms actually mean. This is a Wilton carpet machine. The weft is inserted by a shuttle that is hammered back and forward across the weaving loom. The backing yarns and the pile yarns are run from creels and beams from behind the loom. Pile wires are inserted in each row to produce the pile height on a Wilton. One of the benefits of Wilton carpet weaving is that you can create cut pile carpets, loop pile carpets, or combinations of both cut and loop. Axminsters are made only with a cut pile texture. However, unlimited colour and large complex patterns can be produced using either one of these methods. This is how spool Axminster gets its name. These yarns represent all of the colours in a section of the carpet pattern. They're fed onto a number of spools, 1 spool for each line in the pattern. The spools are then loaded onto the Axminster loom in the correct order, and one by one lay down each row of the pile yarns as the wefts and warps create the carpet, complete with backing. The unique thing about spool Axminster is that there is no limit on colour. In comparison, a Wilton carpet has a maximum of 5 colours, but a spool Axminster like this can have 20, 40, 60 or more distinct colours programmed into its pattern. So the colour and design possibilities are endless, although there is a limit on the size of the pattern. The other kind of Axminster is the gripper Axminster. The huge bank of yarns on the creel behind the loom, in this case 12,000 yarns, feed into the loom through a yarn selector board. The machines are controlled by mechanical or electronic jacquard systems, which select the correct coloured yarn for each position in the pattern. The gripper pulls the correct pile yarn out to its desired length. The pile is then cut and placed into the carpet to be incorporated into the backing as it is woven. In contrast to the spool Axminster, where colour is unlimited, the gripper Axminster normally draws the line at 12 different colours. There's no limit on the size of the pattern, and very large patterns can be created on a gripper Axminster. All woven carpet, and Axminsters in particular, benefit from back sizing or back coating, which improves tuft retention, handle and resistance to fraying. Carpet weaving is a great combination of computer-assisted design and technology from the Industrial Revolution, and wool is still the dominant choice of carpet weavers worldwide. We're now going to look at tufting, which is by far the most common and efficient way to make carpet. Tufting differs from weaving in a very significant manner. In tufting, the pile yarns are fed from a supply creel or a warp beam through to the needles, which push the yarn through the primary backing. Underneath the backing, hooks known as loopers catch the yarn, forming loops as the needles withdraw. Many tufting machines have sliding needle bars, which can produce a pattern by shifting the position of the needles between stitches to create a pattern. There are many other attachments available for tufting machines which also allow variations in pattern and texture. After tufting, a latex adhesive is applied to hold the tufts securely in place, and then a secondary backing can be attached to give added stability. Tufters produce loop or cut pile carpets or a combination of both. Tufters are fast and extremely versatile machines. That pushes volume up and production costs down, explaining why tufters produce most of the world's carpets. So, the sheep has been shorn, the wool scoured, blended, carded, spun, twisted, set, dyed, and then woven or tufted into a carpet that's ready to go on its way to a good home. But before a carpet can earn the Wools of New Zealand label, it has to undergo one of the world's most rigorous testing and grading procedures, here at the Wool Research Organisation of New Zealand, near Christchurch.
We're one of the world's leading research institutes in wool and wool carpets. We're independent, we have our own board, and we focus particularly on carpets and carpet testing. And by the time we've finished testing a carpet, I would say there's probably nothing more you need to know about it.
I see what they mean by comprehensive testing. The list goes on and on. Now, as well as the standard tests, depending on the end use of a carpet or the specific needs of a customer, many more tests may be conducted. Let's take a closer look at what a carpet has to do to prove itself worthy of the Wools of New Zealand brand. All of the samples being tested for the Wools of New Zealand brand are cut and then conditioned in standard temperature and humidity. The carpet samples are weighed, and the size of the sample and the thickness and height of the pile are measured. Then it's shaved to the backing and weighed and measured again. The gauge and stitches are counted, which gives the total number of tufts per unit area, and a whole inventory of construction details are built up. How the carpet is constructed tells a lot about how it will perform over time and for which locations the carpet will be most suitable. Wools of New Zealand has set maximum values for extractable matter that cannot be exceeded. Solvents like dichloromethane, or DCM for short, are used to extract any excess matter, like grease, which is then measured. If a carpet has excess contamination from wool grease, detergents and processing lubricants, it can readily attract dirt once in use. Therefore, the carpet must reach the customer essentially free of these substances. Now we really get down to business, the toughness tests. This machine here is called a hexapod, for good reason. Now that's heavy. 6 feet or pods create the effect of an army marching over your carpet. The hexapod is designed to assess quickly whether your carpet will keep its good looks over time. The heavy-footed hexapod rotates, and after the test, the samples are measured for thickness loss and assessed for texture, colour and design change after both 1,500 and 8,000 tumbles. The hexapod assessment panel checks the tested carpet against a set of international standards. This test gives a good indication of how the carpet will look in the future. The abrasion resistance test assesses how sound the carpet fibre is by rotating a harsh abrasive surface over a small circle of carpet. If the carpet can't stand up to sunlight, you'll end up with a room of carpet with light patches where the sun hits it and dark patches where it's in the shade. Now, this machine, a phaedometer, uses a xenon arc lamp to simulate natural daylight. Now, the changes that occur in the carpet sample after being exposed to the lamp are compared with changes that occur in the standard blue scales. And Wools of New Zealand have set tough minimum grades, which are required for all carpets. The blue light test can assess carpet for short-term fade, which is the loss of yellow colour in the first few months of a carpet's life. Standardised test results rank how quickly one carpet fades compared to another. This is the colour fastness to rubbing machine. It's not very exciting to look at, but it assesses the transfer of dye from the carpet to wool and cotton fabrics in both wet and dry states. The colour fastness to shampooing and the colour fastness to water tests provide accurate measurements of the potential for colour change and staining during carpet cleaning and accidental spills and floods. It's no good having a tufted carpet with a backing if the backing peels off. This machine, a tensile tester, measures how much force it takes to tear the secondary backing off a tufted carpet. The tuft bind test measures the exact force required to pull one tuft out of the carpet. We're going to show you just one more test, one that is a bit like watching paint dry, but it's a vitally important test because not all sheep were created equal when it comes to resilience. And this test, the static load test, is designed to measure the resilience of a carpet. It simulates the crushing effect of a chair or table sitting on a carpet and then measures how long it takes to recover to its original height. Wools of New Zealand has its own panel of experts who assess how each carpet coped with the tests and then sets recommended location usage. The test results and location recommendation is then reported to the carpet manufacturer. I hope that from this you will see that Wools of New Zealand take their wool, their brand and carpets wearing that brand very, very seriously. When it comes to the detail and precision of their quality assurance systems, Wools of New Zealand is hard to beat. So that's our journey from the farm to the floor. We've travelled from the sheep's back to the finished product. Thanks for joining me and Wools of New Zealand to see how a wool fleece becomes a quality carpet worthy of the Wools of New Zealand brand.